Oh, sorry. Hold on. No.
Okay.
Okay.
If only you saw me just now.
I was moving. I was moving something around because I need to. Anyway, it's a long story, but I was moving something around, and as I was doing it, it got really quiet, and I was like, "Oh no!" But
yeah,
okay.
I took a huge deep breath, and then you just deflated me. So yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's all
That's
good.
what I do.
I know. You have to keep me down. You have to keep me grounded, level. So
keep you down, jeez.
No, I mean level, grounded, like from getting like too big headed or something. So
yeah, sure. Dig the hole deeper.
Not for you.
Push the knife in deeper.
I was trying to compliment you.
Keep you grounded.
You keep me sane.
Down.
You keep me down to earth, sane, and yeah.
Whatever.
FX presents the indoobpod with your host, T. Sterling Watson.
Good morning, Indoobians.
Jeez.
I'm T. Sterling Watson.
And I'm Kortney.
This is the Indoob podcast, where morning drive time meets late night talk show, and we aim to entertain, enlighten, provide an auditory escape. Thank you for stopping by and pressing play. This is episode 103. How you doing?
I am fabulous. How are you?
I'm great. Still with someone poking holes in my little my inflation, but that's okay. It's all good. It's.
Well,
I was going for a record because the Indoobian world record book is still being written, so I wanted to see what I could do with that book today. So yeah,
gotcha.
I feel I broke the last record, which was probably episode 73. Not really. I don't know.
I'm really sorry.
So the Indoobian scholars can go back and look. It's all good. I'm just messing with you. I was really wondering what you were going to do or say, like, seriously. So, yeah.
And you got my response. So
yeah. I needed the world to know my lung strength, or the amount of air, like I can project, I can speak for a while without having to take a breath, or even if that's just one single note like I was doing. So, needed the world to know these facts about me.
And you have inched us that much closer to finding more about you. So,
I know, right?
Congrats.
Yes, I removed another layer from the
onion.
From the onion that is me. I was trying to find another descriptive word. I wanted to use corporeal, but I don't think that's quite what I mean.
I don't think that's accurate.
No, yeah.
But I like onion.
Just onion? Well, I was going to say corporeal onion, but that would suggest that the onion, I guess, has a soul. Well, I do have a soul. See, now I'm comparing myself to an onion, and I don't think I like that, because, as you know, I am not a fan of onions. And
did I know that?
You did know that, yes, because I think there's a handful of foods that I don't like that you're like, why don't you like this?
Because I feel that way about onions. I feel like onions kind of make everything better, so you're missing out on a lot.
Yeah, and I'm the exact opposite. Like, it ruins a food as soon as it touches it.
Are you serious?
As soon as it's in the room, like my dad is eating a sandwich, and all of a sudden the room smells like onions.
I'm not a fan of raw onions, but like onions that are cooked into dishes.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Raw, cooked.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Now? Yes. They do horrible things to me.
What?
Things I shan't say on this like public forum, but it's not pleasant to be around me if I consume onions unknowingly, because it's just like, you are foul. Why are you here?
Do you get crazy gas?
Crazy gas. It's just breath. I smell it. I feel like I smell like it. Like I just exude onion gases, just foul odors, just not, I don't even want to call it aroma, odors. It's no odor. It just comes from me, and I hate it. So I just avoid them at all costs. There's certain meatballs that are made with onions. I think they might be Italian meatballs. I'm not sure. My mom doesn't buy them anymore. And then we made sure like which ones were producing the offense. So we just avoided those onions from, not onions. We avoided those meatballs from henceforth. And yeah.
Wow. I don't even know what to say. Like, what do you say to such atrocity? Like, I don't know.
I mean, at least it's a reason. At least it's just me not saying, hey, these are gross. I'm saying these have a negative effect on me.
I guess.
See, I mean, other times, other foods, sure, I'm just like, ew, these are gross. But this doesn't like me. So that's why I just stay away, because I like to be around people sometimes. I really had to throw that sometimes in there quick. But, I want to be social. And sometimes. And if I do consume something with onions, that keeps me from the times like I feel like I want to be social. Like, oh,
like living your best life.
Exactly. Maybe I wanted to go out to the movie theater on like a Thursday night and everyone's there and I just do something with onions, and now everyone is looking at me for like 3.5 hours because Avengers Endgame is coming back. So yeah.
When is that coming back, by the way?
Supposed to be this weekend.
For just the weekend or longer?
That part I'm not sure. And I feel like if they were smart, maybe they would do it for just the weekend. That makes it really super exclusive. Because all they really need is just 45 million just to pass Avatar. So
and the point of this like second release is because of like some deleted scenes or some missing scenes or whatever.
They are supposedly adding end credit scenes at the end. Well, obviously at the end. And because the fans, because, people like us, of course, we're going to go. And if they're going to add some extra things, but they're also doing because, hey, we're that close to breaking that record. We're going to go for it.
But I just need them to extend it through the weekend because I will most likely not be able to watch this weekend. I'll be going out of town for work. But and even if I did have time to watch it, I wouldn't spend it in the theater. I would want to go like explore the city that I'm going to. So
exactly.
I hope that they extend it just a touch so I can partake.
And because of that, I hope that they do it for 2 to 3 weeks. That way, and included you on that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I really greatly appreciate that.
You're very, very welcome. Yeah. I personally haven't been to the movies, and I was doing really well. Like I was hitting the movies like maybe once or twice a week for the last couple months. Yeah. I mean, again, shout out to AMC and their A-list club. But yeah, things happened such as Betty. I don't know if I've actually even told you. Yes.
No.
Betty is the name of my new car.
She has a name. Oh
yes.
My gosh. I knew about her. I just didn't know about the name.
Yes. And I had a little going back and forth, and I don't know why I was struggling with it. At first, I gave it to Twitter just to see what they suggested. Shout out to, how am I going to call her? I want to call her my paid intern, but Southern Cynic, who does a lot of help for me, just pulling out clips and things. But she was the first person to suggest Betty. Betty was the name I was actually thinking of even before the keys were placed in my hand. And I have this thing where each car I want to name after a soul singer that I really, really like. The first car that I had was a black Nissan Altima. That name was Sam or Samantha, but it was named after Sam Cooke. The second car, the Honda Accord, was Alice, whom I recently wrote about and then recited that reading a couple weeks ago. And that video is on my Patreon. I believe it's on my Patreon. That was named after Al Green. And this car here, this new Honda Fit that I have, is named Betty, but spelled Bettye, named after Betty Swann.
Okay.
So this is my awareness, or I'm trying to make people more aware of Bettye Swann if they're not already aware. Mm-hmm. So she came around the time like Aretha Franklin and a lot of the other soul singers in that period, the 60s and I think maybe the 70s. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember how I stumbled across her, but since then I'm like, she's amazing. Like, I love her voice. She's so unique. Some of the instrumentation in some of their songs sounds so, I want to say progressive or just ahead of its time. Mm-hmm. Particularly the song Lonely for You, which is not the lyrics are sad, but it's a very upbeat, up-tempo, fun song. And
you're sad, but you're happy about it.
Yes. And it's also sonically, you need both headphones on. Like, you can't have one earbud because you're going to miss half the instrumentation.
Yeah. Oh, I love songs like that.
Yeah.
Full immersion.
Yes, exactly. However, that's actually how I discovered how intricate the song was, because on one side you hear the drums and how like complex they are. Well, to me anyway. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side you hear a lot of the piano being played, and it's just. Like,
did you say the piano?
I did. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, it's just gets you. So it's like, play that piano. Just do it. So yeah. There's a whole bunch more instruments in there. Maybe some guitars and some horns, but it's great. Yes, guitars. I'm sorry, or guitars. Guitars. That's what they are. You got your guitars, you got your pianos, and trying to think of any other.
In the back.
And did he win anything last night? I missed the BET Awards, and I feel like I normally don't watch them, but the way they were talking about him on Twitter today, I'm like, oh, wow, I think I really missed something last night.
A lot of memeable moments, apparently, because I didn't watch it either, but a lot of memeable moments. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing or just an in-between, indifferent type of thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I have to catch one of the mini replays. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, I've been debating that as well, because there's like so much on, and we talk about this every week, but it's like, do I want to devote a couple hours to that if I already know who, but I'm really watching it for the performances at that point. So
yeah, I heard some good performances, heard of some good performances last night. So maybe worth checking out. Maybe.
Speaking of things that are on, the night we're recording this is the return of Legion. So,
oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yes, indeed.
Didn't know that.
But it's okay. I think
I'm behind the season. I never watched season 2, so I can't watch tonight anyway.
I know. I knew you couldn't. I didn't want to rub it in or anything. I wanted to give you a gentle reminder because you're still working your way through other things and rewatching Flash. I don't know where you are in your TV life right now, but
you're rewatching stuff I've seen a few times.
Yeah. And
it's therapy. It's self-care.
It is. And I'm not mad about it at all. And my sister and I were talking about it recently because she was like minorly groaning about my brother-in-law's obsession with The Simpsons. So that's what he will watch over and over again. Mm-hmm. And she will watch, I don't want to say she'll watch it over and over again, but she found herself in a Matlock marathon. So she was watching that. And I don't know. I remember watching Matlock as a kid, but never really fully knowing what was going on. I don't even remember sometimes at the beginning of an episode. I just might remember the title card. I just remember it just being on and it being a very long show.
That's what I remember. I remember it coming on or just it being on and it being boring and dry and that's it. But I don't know how old I would have been at that time, but I wouldn't have been interested in that show. So,
right.
I'm older now. I could give it a chance, after one of my rewatches and see what it's about. Sneak it in.
Yeah, sneak it in. And just okay, let's see what this Matlock fella is about in his white suits. So, but I think I was misled a little bit because as a child, sometimes it's easy to manipulate them. And my sister's telling me that oh yeah, it's funny. So I'm sitting there kind of waiting for the laughter, the background laughter that happened. And I'm like, this isn't funny. There's nothing funny happening here. I feel
it's
like
definitely not funny.
I guess what she meant was the more mature humor, and it wasn't a sitcom, which is...
No, I think, and I don't know much about Matlock, so listeners, y'all will have to correct me. But I do feel like there's a lot of dry humor in it.
I think that's what she meant.
Yeah, but I don't know nothing else about the show. So, and as a child, of course, I missed all the dry humor because I was looking for something... like cartoons or something. And
something
definitely
bold.
didn't get that. Yeah, slapstick.
Exactly. Just some pratfalls and all of those things. And I needed to know back then when to laugh. I needed that canned laughter, that studio audience.
Right.
Which, by the way, I really dislike now.
It's the worst.
It is. I don't like being told.
Forever.
Yeah.
You don't know my life. You don't run anything around here. Stop telling me when to laugh.
That wasn't funny. That wasn't funny.
Right. It was not funny.
The last show that I allowed it. Oh no, actually that's a lie because it changed to One Day at a Time. They have canned laughter, and I actually laughed at that. That show is amusing. Although I struggle watching that show sometimes because it is funny, but it also will kind of just stab you in the heart a couple times. And I'm like, I came here to laugh. I don't want to feel. Why are you doing this? So,
that's the sign of a really good show is when they can gut punch you and you don't even see it coming, but you also love it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're not going to go down a Flash rabbit hole because that is.
I wasn't even talking about the Flash, but now that you mention it,
it does describe that show. Yes.
Yes, to a T.
But the show I was going to say that the last show I accepted was How I Met Your Mother. Although that show does it too occasionally. They do have some sentimental moments. I'm like, oh, that was a special feeling there. But these shows back in the 90s, I'll allow it. Like Seinfeld, I'll still watch that over and over again. And occasionally I will laugh when the rest of the audience laughs too. So, but that show was actually funny. I said it. Mm-hmm. There are people who argue that the show is not funny at all, and I don't know what's wrong with them. So, I don't know. But
I'm one of those people who've only seen 2 episodes.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, that's it.
It is on Hulu. I don't think it's. I don't know. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about off mic. We'll get into it off mic. But back to the reason why I don't like the canned laughter because of. One of the writers, I don't remember what show, but obviously a show, I think it might have been Arrested Development, where they feel all of that's time wasted. They only have 23 minutes to tell their story. And having them do the ha 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 and however long that is, that's taking time away where they could be writing more jokes. So
I would have to agree. I mean, I feel like with the canned laughter, it's like a comedy routine setup. You've got now I don't know the components, but where you have to set it up and then you have to sync the punchline and then they laugh or whatever. It is a lot of time and it's a lot of investment. Just give it to me and then let me go. Okay. Let me laugh internally. Let me continue laughing 5 minutes later after y'all have moved on. That's what makes it even funnier. Just let me be, let me be.
Exactly. And part of it too is it's definitely in our rewatched lives. We can go back and rewatch it and we may not laugh as hard, but then we can catch the next joke that we missed because we were laughing so hard the first time. Exactly.
It's a whole setup, man.
It is. And I appreciate that and the writers that do that and the shows that do that, such as The Office, Parks and Rec.
Yep. Oh yeah.
My personal favorites being Arrested Development and 30 Rock. Those shows are jam packed with jokes. Some of them obvious, some of them not so much. Just the other day, I was just thinking about a joke from 30 Rock where Liz Lemon, who's played by Tina Fey, just in case for those who don't know, she is pretending that she's miming getting a drink, and then she drops the glass, miming dropping a glass. She's not actually holding one, but she mimes she drops a glass, and the camera pans down to where the glass fell, and then pans back up to her. For me, that was brilliant.
Yeah,
that's something. Yeah,
you're so extra, but it works.
Yeah, even the camera is looking at an invisible glass. That was brilliant. And then she goes back to miming, sweeping it up, and Jack's on the other end is like, no, anchor it. So because she wasn't doing it correctly.
Yes.
That show is so brilliant. For me, that is my self-care show. Like I would put that on and just let it go. And yeah, I love it so much.
It's important to have one,
It is. And it's good to have a few because another one would be Psych. Because that one, for me, is a little longer. So that way I can actually put that on. Well, Amazon Prime doesn't ask you, like, are you still watching this? Which I like.
Yeah.
Points for them for that.
I know, right? Sometimes I kind of like it because, I have a problem with falling asleep on things and then waking up later. But it's nice to, like with Netflix, it's nice for them to just be like, okay, she's really probably not watching. I should probably ask. And then when I don't respond because I'm knocked out, so be it. So I do kind of like it sometimes, but there are times where I'm like, okay, I just want to watch it. I'm like cleaning the house or I'm doing something and I need this going in the background. I don't need to babysit you. I don't need to like tell you every few hours that I'm watching. I'm still here. Like, let me be. I'm here. I promise. I haven't left you.
I'm surprised someone hasn't found a hack, or maybe they have. They just haven't told us. But if there isn't a hack for going into your account to turn that off, because that would be brilliant.
There needs to be. I agree.
Yeah.
Or to time it or something. I don't know. During the hour. I don't know.
But there needs to be something there. Mystery Science Theater 3000 is another one for me that I will just put on and it will just soothe me. Because have you ever watched any of that before? Mystery Science Theater?
I can't say that I have, but I don't know that I haven't.
That might be something I might need to get you on because that has some brilliance in it as well. Because then I could have random references to it, and then at least you'll know what I'm talking about. Because, yeah.
Are you adding to the homework list? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I always am. I don't know why I'm feeling guilty about it. I guess because I know how long the list is. Yeah, and I have no idea when you'll get to it, but it's on that. I'll put it on that list for exactly what you're talking about. When you're doing things around the house and you just need something on in the background, this would be one of those things.
But I have to watch it first, and then I can memorize it so that when I do stuff around the house, I won't feel bad about like walking away or ignoring it. So it's a method to my madness, and I don't think you quite understand that. I
guess it does make sense because it's the same way how I feel if I fall asleep on something. Like, I mean, we literally just talked about it. So, and then I'll wake up in the middle missing like 2 or 3 episodes. Like, oh, now I got to go back. And,
right. And I've spoiled things for myself doing that.
Right.
And it's the worst. Okay. The worst.
Because you'll wake up just when that reveal happened. Like, how did we get here though? How did we get to that reveal?
Exactly. And then you're like, oh, because I'm on episode 10 and I should really be on episode 7 or something.
Right. And a show I recently started is Fleabag on Prime. It's also on, I guess, BBC. Keep hearing about it. So I'm like, okay, let me start it. But I got so sleepy that I fell asleep. And I think I woke up on like episode 3 or 4. And they're very short episodes, like 30 minutes or whatever. So I think I saw the rest of episode 1. I think so. Yeah, I need to go back, but I haven't done that yet. But I will. So yeah, that's TV. And
TV.
I have not caught up on I'm trying to think what the last movie it was that I saw. I could easily go into my AMC account, but yeah, Dark Phoenix is one of the movies I think one of the last ones I saw. I know you haven't seen it yet.
Keep forgetting about it, honestly. I really do.
And you're not. It's.
And it's not even a big deal that I'm forgetting.
It isn't because it's forgettable. Unfortunately, it isn't a forgettable movie. And it's too bad, but it is what it is.
I honestly think the last movie I saw was Endgame. For the third or second, I saw it 3 times, right?
I think you saw it 3 times.
I think I saw it 3 times. Let's just say I did. So it was Endgame after the 3rd time. And I haven't been back to the movie since.
And I can't confirm Dark Phoenix was the last movie I saw. And then before that, it was Godzilla twice. And then before that, for me, it was Endgame.
So you saw Godzilla before Dark Phoenix?
I did. It came out a week before.
Okay.
And then I had to kill time until Dark Phoenix started, so I saw it again. Yeah. Because I was already at the theater. I'm like, I don't want to go home, or I didn't want to leave from work and then go home and then come back out. Because they're right there.
I feel that. Yeah.
And my plan today after work was to go catch up and see like Toy Story 4, Shaft, Rocket Man, but I had other things I needed to do, and plus I was kind of sleepy. So I'm like, I don't want to, I want to give my full attention and energy to the movie when the time comes. So I'm just going to go home, and I'm glad that I did because I passed out shortly after. So it was well worth me coming home. And that was the plan. So I still have time later this week, hopefully before Endgame and whatever else might be coming out this week. Which,
sweet. Not going to see Child's Play?
I am not. I mean, you knew this, but yes, I have no intention whatsoever seeing Child's Play. I don't care to see Brightburn. As interesting as the concept is, I don't really care to see that either.
Nah.
But I don't care for the killing and spookums. As much as I like spookums, these are the kind of spookums I don't like. I don't really care for the slasher horror type. That's not for me.
Yeah.
Which actually is pretty interesting because the next season of American Horror Story is going to be on the slasher genre. So
does that mean you're out? Or
I think I am conflicted, but I feel like I'm leaning towards I'm going to be out. I'm going to sit this one out. And I'll just like...
I mean, we all have to stay in our lane. We all have to know, our boundaries. So if this is yours, then so be it.
I think so.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you. Makes you feel a little better to, I'm going to step away from this one. You guys have this one. And I'll get back to you guys later.
You know how I feel about witches and such. And I was very sad that I could not watch American Horror Story Coven. But it just wasn't for me.
Which for me, I think is still, up there for like the best season.
I'm sure it was, but I watched the first episode and I was like, nope. Can't do it. No. Thank you.
That was only the first episode.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't think I can. I don't think this show is for me.
Oh, that's what they did last. Yeah, because last season they came back because they had to fight a demon child. So.
Oh man, in Coven?
The Coven characters returned because they had to fight like a demon child, and whatever number last season was, I think it was 7.
Yeah.
So it was almost like a continuation, basically.
Oh man, and I missed it. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's on the streams, so
I ain't gonna do it though.
I know, and I mean, you'd have to pick a time when it's sunny outside and you can play your birds chirping music and everything, so that way you cleanse the mind when you're finished, or immediately watch some cartoons, something.
Yeah.
Something happy.
Yeah.
Because last season got pretty dark. Like, ooh, like I felt like, should I be watching this? Like this doesn't like.
And see, I got that vibe after the first episode. Like the pilot did. Excuse me. The pilot did what it was supposed to do. And it gives you a glimpse of what this season's gonna be like, what it's gonna be about, and it worked for me. It was It told me, Kortney, you can't handle this. Stay in your lane. This ain't for you. And sure enough, I've heard the story, and I'm like, oh God, I would never sleep. I would be haunted. So I'm glad I bowed out. So bow out, man. Bow out. Know yourself.
So would you say that you acquiesced to this decision?
I would say that I acquiesced to this decision. Yes.
Fantastic. Because that's today's Word Watch.
Word Watch.
Yeah, that's a good word.
It is. And I decided that, okay, this has to be the word because I was listening to 2 separate podcasts and both of them use that word, like right back to back. Like, how dare you? So, and I've always liked the word. Just, because it was even in a song, and I'm like, okay, that's for at the time I didn't know what it was. I'm like, wow, who's this songwriter just using this word? And then I had to look it up, and then so acquiesce is the word. And for those that aren't sure what it means, the definition is to accept something reluctantly but without protest. So just like you acquiesce that that Coven isn't for you. Like you wanted to watch it, but you realize that you can't. So I'm like, you know what?
So bad, but
you keep it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So the first time I remember hearing that word is Captain Barbossa in Pirates of the Caribbean, the original, the OG.
Okay.
He was like, "Oh my gosh, I used to know this line." I'm gonna have to look it up. Something about I acquiesce to your request or something like that. Jeez.
Okay. Because I don't remember the lines that much, but that is where I got savvy from. I'm pretty sure a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's killing you. You have to look it up.
Oh, yeah. I got to look it up right this second.
I was definitely aware that you were a fan of the movie. I just remember specifically, I think it was you who was most excited about this movie score, which is a very identifiable
still one of my
score.
favorite. Yeah, it's still one of my all-time favorite movie scores. It's just so good. It's so good, and it's so distinguishable, and it's perfect for the movie. Perfect. So,
and it is. I enjoy it.
I still love it. Even the later movies, even the ones that I haven't seen, the scores are still really good. And that says something when the score is much better than the movie. But what else?
Well, I mean, the sequels. I mean, but the first one was good. Like that set the precedent.
It was great. I loved it. I love the first three. I mean, they're problematic after. Like number 2 is, it's pretty good. Number 3 has its issues, but I love them all. I love them. 4 and 5 and whatever number they landed on, who knows? Because I didn't watch. But
yeah, it was. Like, I didn't watch the last one, which I think is the 5th one, and it was during a time where trilogies were like the thing because that was also when the Matrix trilogy was happening, and I think maybe even the first Spider-Man trilogy. And some of them were better than others when it came to like when they knew like part 2 and 3 are coming. But for me, it really helps if you can tell a complete story within a movie. Like you don't need to see part 3. You don't need to see part 1. And the only one that did that for me was Spider-Man 2. So Spider-Man 2, you didn't need to see the one after it, the one before it. And if anything, they even told you a little bit about what happened in the first one. But the Matrix or Matrix Reloaded, as we both know, we are both fans. And I think I want to make sure I use this word correctly. I want to say that we're apologists of it. But yeah, we're both stands of it, basically. Like we will defend it.
To the death.
Yes.
If it comes to that.
If it comes to that, we'll grab our pitchforks and spears or whatever.
Burn it down. So the quote was, "I am disinclined to acquiesce to your request." How perfect is that?
It's almost poetic.
Whew. It's beautiful. That's why I couldn't remember it because it was just too pure for my mind.
And yes, that is correct. We are apologists of the Matrix trilogy.
Word watch.
And sorry, let me get that definition there for other word nerds out there. It is a person who offers an argument in defense of something controversial. So a lot of people would say that they're not good movies, but here we are being apologists for them and saying, yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
They are flawed. They are flawed, yes.
But they're still beautiful and masterpieces, if you will.
They are. I mean, if you take time, because a lot of people like to poke fun of that whole architect scene. You just take time and actually listen to what he's saying. It makes sense.
He's not lying.
Yeah. I mean, sure, he's verbose and has a lot of words, but that's what words are for, to be used for the intellectual people like ourselves. And then they get back to blowing stuff up and fighting and so forth. But yes, great. Trilogies. Got the Pirates trilogy, the 4 and 5, which I have not seen. And And that's what I meant to check to see how well Toy Story 4 is doing, because I think that was like, I don't know, that kind of sets a new, I don't want to say precedent, but they've been waiting. They've been doing them every couple of years. And I just watched a video today how Pixar uses these sequels as an excuse to go back to their original production or whatever to say how much better they can do those things. And they were comparing Toy Story 1 to Toy Story 4, but also going through the Pixar history and showing how each movie brought something new to the table. Like Monsters Inc., they finally developed a software to do fur. So
Okay. I did not know Pixar was always trying to outdo themselves.
That's basically what it came down to. So they keep using the new elements that they learned with each movie and incorporating it in the next movie, or at least a couple movies down. So
I feel like Pixar is one of those corporations that I kind of stand, kind of like Netflix. I stand them like forever because I love, at least the public persona, I love what they're doing. I love the innovation that they do. I love it, especially with Pixar, they have the Easter eggs, and they, there's a whole like fan theory out there that all of the Pixar movies and stories are in the same universe, and like all of them. And it's just amazing. The person who, I forget his name, but I think it's John something, but the way that he laid it out, and he has the whole timeline, and just the connections that are made. And I want to say that somebody at Pixar confirmed it or said that he wasn't wrong or something. But even before that, I was just like, you know what, this is canon. He's right. This John guy, he's doing the thing, and it's right. And it's amazing. And
I mean, when you put in the research like he did, yeah.
I mean, you're right. It's canon. Okay. Yeah. But even then, like the amount of Easter eggs, the amount of work, the amount of attention to detail that Pixar pays to each and every one of its stories and its characters, I have to stand. I have no other choice but to stand.
Pixar is doing a fantastic job, and I would like to work for them, but I feel like that's such a high standard to get one of your stories made into a movie or to be a director. Not that I want to get to that level. I don't know. I would just like to, I wouldn't mind being an intern there to start out with, just to say, oh yeah, I worked at Pixar. I've seen the secrets, but I can't tell you any of them. So it would be nice. I would like to visit them and just see how they work, even though they have tons of documentaries out there, but still. Or maybe if I get a short, I'll get a short made. How about that? That's less pressure.
Okay.
We'll go
well,
with that.
Pixar has a formula that they use. So
that's right. I think you showed me this.
Learn the formula, study it in action with the movies that they made and even the shorts. And go with that. Simple as that. In theory.
Yeah, I'm about to say, that's that. Yeah, I don't know about that simple part, but okay, yeah, I'll give it a shot. But yeah, I'll go back and do that a little later. I thought I had a space segment, but I'm putting it to a vote. I'm asking your opinion first, Kortney, but I'm also going to maybe put it out for the listeners. They can get back to me. Write to indoobpod@gmail.com or hit me on Twitter. But should we just do a space segment and have its own thing? Because I keep combining the Spookums zone with space stuff, and I don't necessarily mean to keep doing that. So what do you have any?
So either keep them separate or continue combining them?
Well, yeah, if I should make a separate segment, because right now my theme in my head, if we're going to do a space segment, I'll just be a space! Because we're going to talk about space.
Honestly, either one is fine. I like a space segment, though, because it's not always spooky.
Right.
Most time, well, the nature of space is spooky, but...
Occasionally there's things that aren't spooky, like
let's keep them separate.
Like they recently found the some kind of I didn't really research it, but I just happened to come across it. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I just took a mental note that they found the Star Trek insignia on Mars. I think it was Mars.
What?
It's either Mars or the moon, but I think it might be Mars.
Probably the moon.
Yeah, but it was there.
Insignia? Oh, I want to know. I want to see it.
Yeah, I know. I came across it, and I mean, it's not in my notes. It just happened to come up as I was reading something else entirely that's on my notes. Oh, because I was trying to determine whether or not the actual thing I wrote in my notes qualifies as something to be in the Spookum zone. But let me look this up really quick. Star Trek insignia. I don't even know how to spell it. Oh, there it is. Okay. But what's actually written in my notes is, and I don't know if you've heard about this either, but due to use in cell phones, like our use in cell phones, we're actually growing horns.
What?
Yeah.
Like right now?
Well, maybe not us, but probably the next generation, and then definitely the generation after that. If we keep doing what we're doing and holding the phones in our hands and looking down at them.
Okay.
There was some kind of like X-ray visuals to show that there's like little bones or something, that bone spurs that are growing like from the back of our necks or from like the base of our skull.
That's not creepy.
Yeah. So.
Yikes.
Yeah. And it was a little, because what grabbed me was the headline. Definitely like our humans are growing horns. And I'm thinking, you know, the horns that grow out of your forehead. But no, these are the horns that are growing out of the back of your head.
So they're not even the cool horns.
They're not. They're even strange, because I feel like if you were to lift your head up, then those horns would start to dig into your neck further or something. I don't know.
That would just mess things up worse.
Right. Or we're just going to be genetically always looking down. And then that's going to be one of those phrases, those turns of phrase you can't say anymore. It's like, why are you looking so down? Because your head's always going to be down.
Because I can't help it.
Yeah, I was genetically made this way. My parents' were always stuck on their phones, so that's why I'm always looking down.
Wow.
It means they're going to be missing.
Look, I'm never touching my phone again, ever.
Because in my mind, I'm thinking, it's like, wow, this is like a Black Mirror episode, but coming to life.
Right. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, the next thing is that this is just going to make it even easier for us to hold our phones. It's just going to be an implant in our phone or in our hands. And it's just going to get worse. And we're not going to see the sky anymore. Aliens are going to come to us, and we're not going to see them because we're too busy looking down at our phones. So it's...
Well, you know, the Matrix said that we were in the 6th iteration of the experiment. So who knows? Maybe we're at like that was 99. Maybe we're still in the 6th iteration.
They might reboot before the horns start growing within our pods. So,
I hope so.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't hope so. Wait, I don't know. I'm confused.
Wake up.
Yeah.
Well, we'll move on to something a little lighter then, because I feel that creeped you out a little bit. If that's the case, mission accomplished, because that's what the Spookum Zone is all about, just to creep you out. That is my job. But I do want to, in lieu of a Black History fact.
Black History facts.
I do want to celebrate. This is more of a salute, but a salute to Marijuana Pepsi Vandyck. I'm sorry.
Dr.
Marijuana Pepsi Vandyck, to you. Well, to everyone, because she has a PhD now. This is...
Anne.
Huh? Oh, yes.
Anne.
I was going to read her little thing here, but her PhD is in higher education leadership.
I thought it was in something about the evolution of Black names.
Oh, no, that was her dissertation.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So, yes, Marijuana Pepsi's mother told her that her birth name would take her places, and she wasn't wrong. After a life spent...
I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, this is your side commentary is accepted and welcomed.
Okay.
After a life spent being mocked for having an unusual name, the 46-year-old seized on her experience to earn a PhD in higher education leadership. Her dissertation focused on unusual names, naturally. As of last week, Oh, yeah. Okay. Last week. This is only 2 days ago. As of last week, Marijuana Pepsi is now Dr. Marijuana Pepsi Vandyck for her dissertation titled Black Names in White Classrooms, Teacher Behaviors and Student Perceptions. Vandyck interviewed students and concluded that participants with distinctly Black names were subject to disrespect, stereotypes, and low academic and behavioral expectations. This resulted in strained relationships, change in future career choices, and self-esteem issues, spelling fewer educational and economic opportunities for students of color. Oops. In school, Vandyck says her name elicited the strongest reactions from white teachers, and she's speaking a lot of other people were thinking that her mom or my mom was smoking marijuana and drinking Pepsi, she tells NPR. And the Black community were used to having names that are more cultural. She asked her mom, who also gave birth to daughters Robin and Kimberly, regular names, many times about how she got her name. And she just, this is her speaking again. She says, or she just shared that she felt a kinship with me and she felt this name would take me around the world. So it goes on, but I just wanted to get to that part.
Didn't they like want to almost not issue her her doctorate because of her name? I remember seeing something along those lines.
See, that's what I get for not reading the whole entire article. I didn't want to read it because I felt it was too long to read. Because for me, I just wanted to know, like, well, what did her mom, what is there a reason why?
Yeah, what was her mom thinking?
But it was that particular reason. She said that she felt that this would take her places.
Interesting.
But, yeah. But either way, she's succeeded. She's a doctor, teacher.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know where I fall on it, you know?
I know.
I'm super proud of her for like doing the thing. And I mean, getting a doctorate is crazy and it's difficult under any circumstances, but the added bonus of having a very distinct name, it's just, wow. It's just very interesting.
It is. And this particular article does not say anything about them not wanting to give her the the degree. It could be in another article, but this one doesn't say anything about it. But she just talks about how she actually takes pride in her name. She welcomes people that come up to her and ask her about it. And like, really? Like, so.
Yeah.
So yeah, she accepts it. She's prideful, and even in that's great, because I know there are people out there that don't like their name,
right?
Or sometimes something comes along and they start to, disassociate from it. But on the same time, there's people who really embrace it or their name. So
good for her.
Yeah,
good for her.
So we salute you, Doctor, because those letters mean things. So. Awesome for her. What else did I have here? We talked about all those things already. Okay, cool. I was gonna mention Betty, but we did talk about Betty. And
we did, first thing.
Yes. So I do want to give a shout out to CarMax, because that is where I got my car. This is an unpaid sponsor. We really gotta get some sponsors in there. I thought about that today. Like, what if a place like Third Love were to say, hey, we'll sponsor your podcast. I'm like, okay, cool.
We should do it.
I'm all for it. I'll be here to talk about bras, because why not? I mean, women need them.
Half the world's population.
Half the world population need them. I mean, even I'm pretty sure anyone, if you feel that you have breasts that need support, no matter what,
got your back.
They got. There's probably back support to it,
and your front. Well, that's what a bra's for, is
the front support.
Well, the front end. If you don't have a good bra and you don't have that good support, it does affect your back and your neck and all of that. So, yeah, it is. They literally got your back.
And the people at Third Love know that. I do not, because I do not wear bras. So, see, then this is why we would be here to share it. And I feel like my listener base is mostly women. I'm not sure. I cannot confirm that. I don't get too much feedback from the listeners. Wink, wink, hint, hint. What else can you do that works audio that you're trying to poke at your listener for them to? I can't think of any other cues other than to say, hey, listener, I'm talking to you. Yeah, you. I know you're kind of looking at yourself right now. You're pointing at yourself. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Yeah. You want to get your phone out and just send an email or tweet or something at Indoob. Say, hi, I'm listening. And then, hashtag indoobpod or something. I don't know. Something like that. Third Love. This podcast is not brought to you by Third Love, but it could be. That was the commercial break. But I was talking about CarMax. Wow. I jumped from cars to bras. Wow. But CarMax, they were great. Worked with some great people. Very low stress. Like the favorite thing that they kept saying to me, because I worked with two different people, and I believe both of them kept saying no worries. And it was oddly actually very soothing. The fact that they kept repeating that. So I feel like that was a corporate thing. Like they was like, okay, now when you're dealing with your customers, be sure to keep saying not a problem, no worries. And I think if that is something that they did, then it does work. Because it really calmed me, because normally I'm kind of uptight, like, okay, they're trying to upsell me. When are they going to try to get me to buy some floor mats or something? I don't know, something I don't need. And and even when they were asking me about accessories, they're like, this will affect your monthly payments or the overall cost. Like, we can see what it looks like, just add it on, but you don't have to take it. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And if it was something that I should have gotten, like something like the Max Care, which is basically just giving you extra care later on, should something happen, then that's something they'll stress a little bit more, but it's worth it. And even afterwards, I have a friend of mine, shout out to Chris, one of the few male people that have confirmed that they do listen. Hi, how you doing? He used to work at CarMax, and he followed up with me. He was like, you got the CarMax, not the CarMax, the Max Care thing, right? I'm like, I did get it. And so, yeah, I made the right choice. So it was good.
Nice.
Yes.
Awesome.
And the Honda Fit is a hatchback. I've never had a hatchback before. Well, this is on my third car, but I've never driven one. So it's not bad. It's a nice little, someone described it as sporty little car. It gets me where I got to go. And I like it so far. It's only been a couple days, but I like it.
Awesome. And we talked about it before, that it's peace of mind that you are not going to be stopping, unless you choose to.
Yes. Yes.
All kinds of stuff.
Because as much as I love Alice, having had that car for the last 10 years, there were issues, the engine lights coming on that I couldn't turn off because they would cost too much to get them fixed. And Alice started making noises that she doesn't normally supposed to make. Yet the person who one of the people I dealt with CarMax, he actually liked the noise. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a good thing. That means the muffler is about to fall off right now. So, yeah. He's like, oh, no, but I like that loud noise. I was like, no. And it cost too much to get it fixed. So I'm like, yep, then now's the time. And Alice and I had our last drive. I was going to say our nice quiet drive, but it was not quiet. But we had our last drive through the countrysides and getting to CarMax, and then signing my life away for Betty. So it was a good trade. One Honda for another. So Betty is now. Oh, by the way, I don't think people realize how much of a blessing, first of all, this car is, because in the car Alice, because I've gone through so much with that car, but I've also been without a car radio for
forever.
Years. Years. So the fact that I can actually listen to first a radio station, but then I can also listen to whatever's on my phone through the car radio speakers, that is a huge blessing. Like a lot of people might take for granted. So you could just imagine going to work every morning for a couple of years in silence. If you can imagine that.
Torture. Sounds like literal torture. Not to be dramatic or anything. But
just a little, I mean, we did talk a lot about movies today and TV shows, so I understand the theatrics will be in there, but
right.
But no, and it was actually really weird this morning. Like I went to work and listening to the radio, I'm like, "Ooh, this is new." And
today was the first day you drove to work listening to the radio?
Yes.
What?
I know.
Oh, well, you just got your car what, Friday? And
yeah.
It's officially Monday.
Yeah.
So, okay,
so I got it.
That makes
sense.
I
got it Friday afternoon. So Saturday I drove and actually listened to, I think, a podcast on the radio, or not on the radio, but like through the speakers. And then Sunday was music. And then that's when it actually hit me. I was like, I'm driving in Betty. I should be listening to Betty Swann. And yeah, I'm going to do a video later so other people can understand the importance and significance. Like, this is Betty Swann. This is why I named her Betty. And plus she looks like a Betty too. So there's that. I did have other suggestions for names, but I think those might be for future cars. I still would like an SUV, even though I know they're gas guzzlers. And I feel like Aretha would be a name for an SUV. But
Aretha?
Yeah. Because she's powerful. Like she'll pack a punch. I mean, I'm not saying that, yeah, I feel like maybe that. It's either Aretha or Otis, because those were two names that were suggested to me, and I like them. But I've also, I prefer having like more of the feminine names. Well, maybe an SUV can be a male, I suppose. I tried to see if I could, gender swap a name, which is why Sam Cooke became Samantha, and Al Green became Alice. So, yeah. But we'll worry about that in a few years from now when the next car comes. Right now is Betty's time. We're going to enjoy Betty. We're going to treat Betty very well. Yes.
That's right. That is correct.
Does your car have a name?
She doesn't. And she kind of moves between being a she and a he.
Okay.
And then an it. So, she doesn't really... So yeah, but no, she doesn't have a name. My previous car did. She wasn't Betty. What was her name? Bertha? Not Bertha.
I feel like Bertha would be a name. Probably a lot of Berthas out there.
My brother's car is Bertha, so it's not that. But it was something very like, wasn't Gertrude? It was something. I can't even remember, but it was like a very strong,
like an old lady.
Yeah, very strong name. But yeah, this car doesn't have a name. But we connect on a different level. We don't even have to like call each other's names. She's a good car, and she takes care of me, and that's all that matters. So,
you call her by her ancient name. I think that's a line on a song that you sent me.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Or at least there's two songs. There's one song I sent you, I think, that says that, and there's one song you sent me. They play on that theme, which I like. It's also very poetic.
It's very poetic. Yes.
I feel like we might have to start another playlist.
I'm down.
Yeah, of songs that just have these, I don't know, I guess well-written songs. I think that's what I want to go with.
Okay.
There are some really, really great lyricists, and I mean the songs are good too, obviously. And I would have to limit myself to only put maybe one Hozier song on there, because I would probably put like entire albums, because he's like one of my favorites. But yeah. So yeah, we'll workshop. We'll talk about that off mic, and then that might be a Patreon thing that shows up later.
Cool. I'm down.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I had other music news, but I think I will save that off mic, because that doesn't really have anything to do with the show. And you'll be like, oh, that's exciting. So it has to do with Emily King, who you also introduced me to. So
sweet.
Have you heard of her new album?
Sweet. I haven't.
You're missing out on everything. Look. See, what would you do without me?
Hey, life is happening.
Tell me about it.
It is happening.
I mean, have you met Betty? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes. I think that just about does it. So, is there anything that you'd like to shout out, or things you want people to check out? Any recommendations? That's the new thing that we should be having.
Recommendations. Let's see. You caught me off guard.
I know that was something I keep meaning to add to our thing as we're signing out, because I feel like people should know where to find us. This is episode 103, so you should kind of know, but maybe don't. I mean, we're still getting new listeners, so I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to like exclude those people. You know? Yeah.
Right. Gosh.
Well, as you think about that,
I'm gonna have to think on the recommendations.
Because I'm trying to think as well. Because I mean, it could be anything. It could be a book. Could be a podcast. It could be a TV show, whether it's streaming or terrestrial. I feel like I want to say it's terrestrial. Whatever, or movies, of course. And I mean, because I've seen so many things lately, I still, I'm gonna go back to something I actually have seen a while ago, but I still think about. And that is a show called Abstract, which is on Netflix. And you don't have to watch the entire season, but you can just pick any episode that might tickle your fancy.
Why would I do that, though?
Yeah, you would want to watch it all. I mean, you personally, yes, you would want to watch them all. But some of them are more, for me, some of them are more interesting than others because they all focus on different art forms and artists. So it's not like episodic. It isn't, no.
Okay.
It's more like a slice of life for each person. Like today we're going to focus on this photographer, and then today we're going to focus on this graphic designer. So there's no connective tissue other than the fact that these are all creators making things, and you get to see their process.
Gotcha.
So I'd recommend that. And as I said that, I lied because I discovered something else for self-care. It's called Moving Art. It's also on Netflix. And you know those nature documentaries where you've got some guy just telling you about like how the flowers are blooming and whatever. You see all the flowers blooming in slow motion or whatever. It's that, but without the guy narrating. So you just see the flowers blooming, and it's just that. I mean, each episode, again, is different. You've got your deserts, you've got your oceans, but there's no person narrating. It's just that.
Gotcha. That sounds kind of awesome.
Yeah. So if you need to chill out and just have this wash over you, that's the show for you. It's called Moving Art, and I believe it's 2 seasons. Might be 1 season. I'm not sure, but there's plenty of episodes to choose from.
Okay. Well, I am reading a book. I'm watching a few things, but like I'm rewatching stuff, so nothing really new. I did watch Always Be My Maybe. Which was excellent. I loved it, and it's great.
As much as everyone's talking about, I still have not watched it yet.
Well, I just watched it like yesterday or the day before, so like I just watched it too. But it is good. It's pretty funny, and I liked it. It was really good. I'm a huge fan of Ali Wong, so really anything that she does, I kind of want to be a part of, and I'm gonna like promote. But I just love her, and I loved her in this movie. But one thing I'm reading a book called Cinder. It is a Cinderella retelling, and it is not nearly as cheesy or as bad as I thought it would be. It's by Marissa Meyer, and basically Cinder, who is, the Cinderella figure in the story, is a cyborg. Okay. This is sometime in the future where cyborgs and androids and, of course, humans exist along with folks who live on the moon. They're from Earth, but they now inhabit the moon. And it's just such an interesting retelling. It's, there's a lot of retellings where they're like just modernized versions of the same story with a little bit here and there that's different. But I mean, I'm in chapter, 12 maybe, and it's just taken such a different turn than I thought it would, even several chapters back. And I don't know, it's very digestible. Like the chapters are pretty short, which is not a prereq for me, but I do like to kind of track my progress with the book. Yeah, it does. I mean. If they were longer, that would be fine because the book moves at a really good pace. But Chapters are really pretty easily digestible, and the story is really neat. It's just a good book, and so I recommend it. Listen to it, read it, get it in your brain.
I mean, I think you did kind of have me at Cyborg and then the moon. So I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like if I was a cartoon.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I didn't expect the moon part, at least. The cyborg part I kind of knew, but yeah.
Yeah, if I was a cartoon, you would have heard sound effects of my eyebrows like going up. Like perk? What? And I would have sprouted a third eyebrow because of just everything you're saying. So it does sound interesting.
Yeah, it's a really interesting take on it. So, and there's like a whole series where there's other retellings of different like fairy tales. There's Little Red Riding Hood. There's Rapunzel. There is Snow White, I believe, or Sleeping Beauty. One of those, or both, maybe. But even then, like it's very similar to like the American Horror Story series. Well, where each season includes the same actors, but the story is different. So in this case, it's called the Lunar Chronicles. In each book, it's a different retelling of a different story, a fairy tale. But I believe they're somehow connected. Now, I don't know the details on how they're connected, but I was told that they are. So we're going to go there. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this series, and I recommend it.
All right. And it is in my library, the audiobook. So
sweet.
I might possibly check that out.
Go for it.
If I can finish catching up with all my podcasts. But yes, I will definitely do that. So where can people find you if they're looking for you on like interwebs or what have you?
The people can find me on the interwebs, specifically on the Twitters at IMK Hinton. Yeah, that's the best place to find me when I'm there occasionally.
Okay. Well, same with me. Although I feel like I haven't been on as much lately these days. It's just, well, it's been busy. And I might pop on just to say some random thing that might not have anything to do with anything. Just like, here's a thought. Yeah. But yeah, you can follow me on all things at Indoob, and go to indoob.com to find the TeePublic store for merch and the Patreon to support and get perks. Ask us questions by emailing indoobpod@gmail.com. So please, I mean, you can ask us questions. You can also give us comments. We like all that stuff. And now that I have a new phone, I can I actually linked that account. So I'll actually get those emails versus checking it occasionally on a computer once in a while. I don't know why I didn't link it before. I don't know. Kortney, where were you? You were supposed to be there to let me know.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I failed you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We're all good now. We caught up. Please rate, comment, and share the pod on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, and Podbean. Apparently all those rating systems and things work. So if you do listen regularly, and please drop us a comment on those sites. If you can, please. Reach out to us. We love you. We want to just hug you digitally in our own separate rooms. Thank you so much for supporting, listening, stopping by, and pressing play. Tell someone you value that you value them. Live without regrets and live for the folks you love. I've been your benevolent host, T. Sterling Watson. And remember, if the world didn't suck, we'd all fall off. Stay fresh, cheese bags. The Indoob Podcast is recorded in a studio somewhere on planet Earth. The Indoob Podcast is part of the Indoob Network. And if you'd like to get in contact with the Indoob Podcast, please email indoobpod@gmail.com. That is indoobpod@gmail.com. You can find the Indoob Podcast on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, and of course Podbean, or wherever podcasts may be procured. If you'd like to find out more information, please visit indoob.com, where you can find our store, the blog, and of course our Patreon if you'd like to support and donate and find more perks and fun things to listen to and watch. For Chief, DJ Joe Daddy, Bilford, this is T. Sterling Watson signing off. Thank you so much for listening.
Use your words, Chief. Good boy.
This has been another 3SFX production.